I press play. The screen flickers. The frame is shaky, as if the person holding the phone was nervous or excited. The sound is low, muffled breathing, hushed laughs. My fingertips feel cold against the device, and I'm sure my own breath is caught in my throat. I'm not moving, not blinking. There's this eerie feeling under my skin, goosebumps, but not from any soft touch. More like a sharp needle of dread sliding up my spine, telling me I should stop watching. But I can't. The video is no more than 30 seconds. She's there, hair undone, cheeks flushed, eyes half closed as she leans back on a motel bed. He's there too, someone I barely know in person, but have heard enough about in passing. The camera jumps, focusing on their bodies. Her shirt is unbuttoned, sliding off one shoulder. He leans in, pressing against her throat with his lips. There's a low moan. Her moan. Even with the poor audio, I'd recognize that sound anywhere. It's the sound she never made with me. I see a flash of a grin on his face, a confident, hungry grin, and then the camera goes dark. Maybe someone's thumb covered the lens, or maybe they stopped filming. But 30 seconds is enough. Enough for me to know every single detail that matters. Enough for me to lose all illusions I've been foolishly clinging to. I close the phone, stare at the blank screen, and finally take a breath. The goosebumps linger on my arms. They're not going away. I'm standing in our bedroom while I watch. The bed behind me is neatly made, my bed. My side is always slightly more rumpled than hers. Her side has a soft pink duvet, a reading lamp, a small stack of romance novels she claims to enjoy. Her presence is in every corner of this space, even when she's not here. It's suffocating. My ears buzz, my pulse is slow but heavy. I look at the door, half open, expecting to see her face. But I'm alone. Alone in a house that felt like home until a minute ago. I turn my head to the closet. She hung up that white blouse last night, the one she wore to the office. But there's no reason for me to check if it's there. This video is from a few days ago, or a few weeks, I can't be sure. The date stamp says it's recent, though. Very recent. I know she was out with friends on that day. Came home with hair undone, smelling of cheap motel detergent despite her best attempts at covering it with perfume. I wanted to trust her. I wanted to believe I was imagining things, that suspicious tang I couldn't identify. Now I see how easily one can ignore the obvious. All it takes is a little denial and a lot of hope. I exhale, slip the phone in my pocket, and move to the living room. She's there, sitting on the couch. She doesn't speak. She just looks at me. The tension in the air is thick. There's a dull lamp on the side table, bathing the furniture in a warm orange glow. I notice the reflection of her eyes in that light. They don't have the softness I remember. I open my mouth, searching for words, but no breath comes. I take another moment, and then I speak as calmly as I can manage. You should have told me. My voice sounds distant, like someone else's. All this time, you knew. Silence. She's not moving, not shifting, not even a flicker of apology or anger. She's just there, absorbing my words without response. I watch her face carefully, waiting for any sign of regret or fear or even contempt. But she's a statue. Even as I push further, I feel nothing from her except a quiet sense that she already decided something, long before I arrived here. I sink into the armchair across from her. The memory of that 30-second clip still plays behind my eyes, uninvited. Her parted lips, the shape of her shoulders. Her breathing. My breathing. I clear my throat, speak more quietly, though I'm not sure why I bother. I saw it. That video. Did you know someone was filming? Did you even care if I found out? She doesn't answer. Her gaze is hollow. I realize I'm shaking my head, slow, more in disbelief than anger. But anger's there too, under the surface, swirling like thick black tar. I notice the wedding band on my finger. I twist it in place. It feels foreign, like something that belongs to a better man in a better life. I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm looking at her, but I'm seeing them. A minute passes, or maybe an hour. Time lost meaning. The lamp flickers once. I hear the hum of the air conditioner. She says nothing. I stand up, weigh the phone in my hand, then walk to the window. Outside, the night is quiet, a neighbor's porch light shining across the lawn. My reflection stares back at me in the glass. I look older than I did this morning. I step away, pick up my car keys from the table. She glances at them, but still remains silent. I take a breath. I'm going out, I say. Don't wait up. Her eyes follow me until I'm at the door, but not a single word crosses her lips. I open the door, pause for a fraction of a second, then walk through. The lock clicks behind me. I get in my car, start the engine, and drive aimlessly through the suburbs. Streetlights pass over me like distant spotlights, framing me in short bursts of illumination. My heart is heavy, but weirdly calm. Like it has accepted a final defeat. In my mind, I replay the last year, her absences, the sudden phone calls she'd take in the other room, the faint cologne that wasn't mine. I tried to believe it was an innocent story or my own paranoia. Because I needed to believe that. Because I love her. Loved her. I'm not even sure which tense is right anymore. At a red light, I rest my forehead against the steering wheel. Outside, the world keeps going. Someone in a pickup truck honks at a slow driver. Two teens cross the street laughing. A dog barks. Normal life. But I feel detached, like a man in a diving bell, watching everything through thick glass, muffled and distant. I think about going to a bar, getting a whiskey, losing myself in that burn. But I don't. I drive until I see the pharmacy, the one with the bright neon sign that never fully turns off. It takes me a few seconds to muster the will to park. I step inside. Fluorescent lights paint everything in a sterile glow. Rows of medication, baby supplies, cosmetics, greeting cards. The overhead speaker plays some soft pop song I don't recognize. I walk to the back, find what I came for. A DNA test kit. My finger hovers over the small rectangular box. I swallow hard, pick it up, stare at the label. At this point, it might be a formality, a final nail in a coffin that's already sealed. But I can't not do it. There's a child in that house I always believed was mine. Because she said so, and I wanted to believe her. Maybe I can't rely on her words anymore. But a test is cold, impartial, always telling the truth. And that's what I need. I buy the kit. The cashier gives me a polite smile that I can't return. I push a few crumpled bills across the counter, stuff the box in a bag, and walk out. The night air feels cooler than before, or maybe I'm just numb. In the car, I place the bag on the passenger seat. I notice a trembling in my hands when I grip the wheel. I drive back to the house, half expecting her to be gone. But her car is there, parked exactly where she left it. Inside, the living room lamp is off. Only a faint light from the kitchen reveals her silhouette at the table. She looks up the moment I enter. The silence is more brutal than any words could be. I breathe through my nose, set the pharmacy bag on the counter. Then I approach her. She just watches me. Her eyes are wide, but I can't read them. I speak in a low voice, trying to stay calm. Tomorrow morning. I want you and him tested. I don't specify the child's name. I can't. If I say that name, I might break. I need to know. She nods, just once, but still doesn't speak. I stare at her, wanting her to say something, anything, an explanation, a confession, a cruel mocking remark. But she gives me silence. I rub my jaw, feeling stubble under my palm, and stare at the table where we once had family meals. A half-finished cup of tea sits there, steam long gone. I'm going upstairs, I say. The kids are sleeping. She nods again. That slight tilt of her chin, then stillness. I walk past her, hearing the quiet shuffle of her feet behind me as she leaves the room. An invisible knife slices between us, dividing the house into separate worlds. I climb the steps, check on the children, my older daughter and my little boy. Both are asleep, peaceful, the warm glow of a nightlight illuminating their faces. My heart twists at the sight. They look so innocent, so unaware of the storm that's about to tear everything apart. I step into the master bedroom. The bed is still there, neatly made. I turn on the air conditioner to drown out the silence. Then I just stand by the window, looking at the darkness outside. My reflection stares back again, eyes hollow. I tell myself a man shouldn't cry. So I don't. But inside, I feel something wound tight is about to snap. I don't know how long I stand there. Eventually, I go to bed, lying on top of the blanket, fully clothed, arms folded over my chest. The bed smells faintly of her lotion. I close my eyes and let emptiness fill me. Morning comes in small increments of light. I hear the children stirring, a shuffle of tiny feet across the hallway. I go through the motions of waking them, checking their pajamas, guiding them downstairs. She moves quietly through the kitchen, still not speaking. She pours juice for the kids, hands me a mug of coffee. I take it but don't drink. My stomach is in knots. We exchange no words. The kids chatter about school, cartoons, something about a friend's birthday. I nod, force a small smile. They don't notice the tension, or at least they don't mention it. Later, I gather a sample from him, my supposed son. She watches me, her face void of emotion. I follow the instructions on the test kit, sealed containers and swabs. Everything by the book. I try not to look at the boy's trusting eyes. I tell him it's just a silly test Dad needs for work. He giggles, asks if it's about dinosaurs. I swallow, say yes, something about science. Then I store it all away, lock myself in the bathroom, and collect my own sample. She's waiting in the hall when I emerge. I hold the sealed envelope that will go to the lab. I get into my car and drive. The lab is across town, a featureless gray building. I drop off the envelope, fill out the forms, pay the fee. I'll get an email in about a week, they say. One long week. I thank them in a dead voice, then leave. Those days pass in a fog. The kids notice that I don't speak to their mother. They ask questions I can't answer. I leave for work, bury myself in financial reports and spreadsheets, come home late, try to avoid conversation. She remains silent throughout. Once, I catch her staring at me from the stairs. We lock eyes for a second, and something like sorrow passes over her face. But she doesn't speak, and I can't bring myself to break that barrier. A few days in, an old neighbor, Mr. Johnson, the gray-haired man from upstairs in our apartment building back when we lived in that small unit, calls me out of the blue. It's unusual. He says, "I'm sorry to trouble you, son, but, well, I saw your wife the other morning. She left in a shirt. Not yours. I'm sorry. I just thought you might want to know. That's all." His voice is tired, like he hates being the bearer of bad news. I close my eyes, thank him politely, and hang up. I feel no surprise. The test result is due tomorrow, but I already know what it will say. That night, I don't sleep. I sit in the dark living room, sipping water from a chipped glass. She's upstairs, presumably in bed, or maybe just as awake as I am. But she won't come down. She never does now. By sunrise, I feel more dead than alive. I get the kids dressed, drive them to school. When I get home, I check my email. It's there, your results are ready. I open the file, skim through the text. The conclusion is crystal clear. Probability of paternity, 0%. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. I'm in the driver's seat of my car, the air conditioner blasting so I don't hear the sound of my own heart. My chest is heavy, but no tears come. I repeat it in my mind, not mine. It feels like the final door slamming shut. I sit there for an hour, or maybe two, feeling the dryness in my throat, the dull ache behind my eyes. The phone dings with a message from my boss, but I ignore it. My entire world is spinning around one fact: my wife's child is not mine. If that child is not mine, then who is she? And who am I? Eventually, I drive over to her father's place. He's an older man, a respectable figure in our community. He loves his daughter, always had. I doubt he knows the details of what she's been doing. She used to talk fondly of how he taught her values, morality, how to behave with integrity. But people change, or maybe they never were what they pretended. He opens the door, sees me on the porch with a sheaf of papers, printouts of her text messages, the chat logs I found on her laptop. I hand him everything without ceremony. He looks at them, flipping through each page. His face grows rigid. I stand there, silent, while he reads the explicit lines she exchanged with that manager from the travel firm, her boss of pleasure, as she jokingly referred to him. It's all in black and white, undeniable. The father looks at me, then glances behind him to see if anyone else is around. He calls me inside, but I shake my head. He steps out onto the porch, lowering his voice to a hush. I don't know what to say. I hold up the final page, my test result. You raised this? I ask quietly. I'm not yelling. I'm not even trembling. My voice is hollow, but each word lands like a stone. You taught her to be this way. He looks at the pages, then at me, and the horror in his eyes is clear. I had no idea, he mumbles. He might be on the verge of tears, or maybe rage. I'm sorry. He can't meet my gaze for long. He glances back into the house, calling out to his daughter. She's not here, obviously. Then he turns to me with shoulders slumped, like he's been defeated by something too big to face. I don't linger. I walk away without another word. Out on the sidewalk, the sun beats down harshly, but I barely feel it. My footsteps are steady, each one echoing in my skull. I get in my car and drive back to my house. She's there, in the driveway, standing like she's been waiting for me. Still silent. She sees the folder in the passenger seat when I open the door. Her eyes flick to mine. Maybe she knows what just happened. But she doesn't speak. I gather the kids, my kids, the two we had together. The older one is mine biologically, I know that. The second, I discovered, is also mine. The third, the baby that set all of this off, is not. The discrepancy is too complicated to unravel in a single breath, and I have no energy left to ask her how she managed to pass off that pregnancy as mine. Maybe she strayed once, or maybe more. The bottom line is the same, the baby boy is not mine. I collect the documents, birth certificates, school forms, the silent acceptance that I'm done. I take my children by the hand. She stands to one side, arms at her sides, the faintest tremor in her lips. But still not a word. I can almost hear her heartbeat in the hush. I whisper, "Go say goodbye to your mother." They walk up to her, uncertain, hugging her around the waist. She squeezes them in return, but no tears fall from her eyes. I watch the baby monitor left on the table. It's silent. She no longer needs it. The third child is upstairs, an infant in his crib, perhaps. She'll be left with him, the one who isn't mine. The one she had with someone else. That's her burden now. I guide my children to the car, help them buckle in. When I turn around, I find her standing by the front steps, holding the baby in her arms, a stroller beside her. The stroller is empty, and so are her eyes. I step closer, just enough to see the faint lines on her face that I once traced with my fingertips. I can't feel anything for her now. My voice is so soft it's almost inaudible. I'm not staying. She says nothing. The baby squirms, letting out a little cry. She glances down at him, but her gaze is vacant. She's lost in a place I can't reach. I feel the final thread of connection break. The hush in the air weighs more than any scream. I look at the child for a moment. I want to feel anger or hatred, but he's just a baby. The only person I can hold accountable stands before me. And she's offered me no explanation, no apology, nothing. I back away, step by step, until I reach the car. Then I open the driver's door. My children watch me from the back seat, uncertain. I sigh quietly. We're going somewhere else, I tell them, though I'm not sure where that will be. Just somewhere away from here. She remains on the porch, hugging the baby to her chest. The stroller stands abandoned at her side like a useless prop, a symbol of everything that should have been there but wasn't. I turn the key in the ignition, and the engine rumbles to life. We drive off. I catch one last glimpse of her in the rearview mirror, alone, silent, the morning sun glaring against the empty stroller. A perfect picture of a shattered life. She made her bed, now she lies in it. I press the accelerator, feeling no triumph, no relief. Only a cold emptiness that weighs heavier than grief. I pull onto the main road, past the grocery store, the school, the park. Familiar places that hold too many memories. My daughter asks if we can stay in a hotel tonight. I say, yes. We'll do that. She seems relieved in the innocent way children are, as if this is just a fun adventure. My older child is old enough to sense tension, but not old enough to understand the deeper betrayal. For now, I'll pretend it's a temporary trip. We check into a modest hotel on the outskirts of town. A beige building, with a flickering neon vacancy sign. The kids run around the tiny room, excited by the novelty of it all. I drop our small bags on the bed, exhale slowly, then open the drapes to look at the parking lot. The sky's turning orange and purple, painting the asphalt in tinted shadows. I can't escape the feeling that this is some strange purgatory, a halfway point between my old life and whatever comes next. That evening, after I order pizza for the kids and switch on a cartoon channel for them, I step outside to the walkway in front of our door. I lean against the railing, gazing at distant headlights on the road. A wave of dizziness passes through me. I brace a hand on the iron bar, bowing my head. The entire day has been a blur of unstoppable movement, like I've been heading straight into a brick wall. Now that wall is here, and I've collided head-on. But there's no dramatic crash. Just a sudden jolt and a quiet aftermath. I hear a vibration in my pocket. My phone. I glance at the screen, a missed call from my father-in-law. I don't call him back. He's probably desperate for answers, or for me to come back and fix this. But there's nothing to fix. My marriage is like a building that's collapsed. You don't stand there and glue the rubble back together. You walk away. Or at least that's what I keep telling myself. I watch the cars come and go. There's a slight breeze, carrying the aroma of stale fast food from somewhere nearby. Voices drift up from the parking lot, people checking in, asking about local restaurants, minding their own business. I close my eyes for a moment, letting the hum of normalcy wash over me. Then I go back inside. My kids are half asleep, lulled by the gentle glow of the TV. I tuck them in, one in each bed. My daughter curls up with her teddy bear. My older child tries to stay awake, but soon his eyelids droop. I sit there for a long time, just watching them breathe. They're mine, my responsibility, my future. I have to keep it together. For them. The next morning, I make phone calls. My boss is startled when I say I need some leave, but he doesn't push me for explanations. I sense pity in his tone, which I hate more than I expected. I gather the kids, we get breakfast in the shabby lobby, cereal, milk, watery orange juice. They're excited by the prospect of no school. I half listen to their chatter, nodding and giving an occasional gentle smile. All the while, my mind is stuck on the woman I left behind. She's alone with her third child, no man by her side. Maybe she can call her lover, that manager who gave her all those compliments and fleeting thrills. Let him cradle her illusions now. I load the kids into the car, decide to drive to a quiet spot outside the city. An old state park with tall trees and a calm lake. We arrive by late morning. The path is deserted on a weekday. The kids run ahead, pointing at squirrels, picking up pebbles. I trail behind, hands in my pockets, replaying everything. The memory of that motel video still flickers in my head. I wonder how many times they met there. I picture her lying on a cheap bed, laughter in her voice, her hair messy, her nails scraping his back. My stomach churns, but I keep walking, keep breathing. A man shouldn't cry. Eventually, we reach a wooden bench near the lake. The water is smooth, reflecting the sky. The children climb on a rock, shouting something about fish. I let them play, keeping watch from a distance. In the reflection, I see my own shape, a stoop-shouldered man, neither old nor young, neither alive nor dead. My wedding band gleams in the sunlight. It feels like a ring of lead on my finger. I consider taking it off, but for some reason I don't. Not yet. I hear a rustle behind me. A fisherman passes by, nodding politely. I nod back. That small interaction feels jarringly normal. I'm used to normal. But normal is gone. Replaced by this internal emptiness I can't begin to describe. As if a large chunk of me is missing. I keep my face blank, not wanting the kids to see. They chase each other across the grass, giggling in the bright morning light. I think, this is all that matters now. By mid-afternoon, we head back to the hotel. I order sandwiches to the room. The kids watch more TV. I flip through my phone, ignoring messages from my father-in-law. My mother calls. I answer with a quiet greeting. She immediately senses something in my tone. What happened? She asks, voice concerned. I glance at the kids, lower mine. I'll tell you later. It's complicated. Are you safe? Are the kids okay? We're fine, I say. We'll figure it out. She wants to press for details, but she holds back, respecting my boundaries. I promise to call soon. Then I hang up. I set the phone on the dresser. The reflection in the TV screen shows me, a man with dark circles under his eyes, mouth set in a grim line. I say nothing, do nothing. A part of me wonders if I'm handling this well or if I'm in shock. Possibly both. Late that night, after the children are asleep, I step outside again. I lean against the same railing, stare at the same parking lot. My mind drifts to the possibility of what I might do next. It hits me that I want a moment of closure, a final confrontation with that manager who slept with my wife. But I don't have the energy. And what would I gain? More bitterness? He's not the root of the problem. She is. Or maybe it's me, for not seeing this earlier. I run a hand over my face. I feel as though I'm a ghost, wandering in the half-light, stuck in a dimension where the living have no place for me. The only anchor I have are those kids, asleep on identical queen beds behind that thin wall. I think about them constantly, about how I'll make their lives stable again, how I'll be father and mother at once. My older boy is old enough to ask tough questions soon. My daughter will need me in ways I don't fully grasp yet. But I'll do it. I have to. The next few days blur together, phone calls with a lawyer, quiet dinners with the kids, short walks around the hotel. I shift some money from our joint account to a personal one, aware that I'm cutting ties. I arrange for new living arrangements, find a small rental house a few miles away from my old job. It's half the size of our original home, but it feels more honest. The landlord agrees to let me move in at the start of next month. I say yes. One morning, I pack the kids in the car and drive them to see a potential new school. It's not fancy, but the staff is friendly and the playground is big. The principal greets me warmly, eyes flicking to my ring, then to the kids, but doesn't pry. I fill out some preliminary forms. A sense of finality settles over me. I'm building a new life. Without her. A week after I left, I go back to the house. The kids wait in the car. I tell them I need to grab some things. They nod, uncertain, but they trust me. Stepping inside, I notice the living room curtains are drawn. The place feels stale and dim. She's sitting on the couch, the baby in her arms, but there's no warmth on her face. She looks up at me, silent as before, and that emptiness in her eyes sends a chill through my spine. I approach her slowly. I speak in a calm tone, though inside I'm bracing myself. I need the documents for the kids. School forms, birth certificates, all of it. She shifts the baby, stands, and retrieves a folder from the bookcase. She hands it to me without a word. I glance at it briefly, confirm everything's there. Then I look around the room. The walls are full of photos, family pictures from happier days, or illusions of happiness. I remember how she insisted on capturing every Christmas, every birthday, every trip to the beach. Now those photos feel like lies. My gaze lands on a framed snapshot of the two of us, smiling on our wedding day. She was wearing that white dress, the wind blowing her hair, and I had my arm around her, feeling like the luckiest man alive. I step closer, pick up the frame. A hairline crack runs across the glass, right through our faces. I wonder if she smashed it or if it fell by accident. I set it down gently. I'm not sure what that crack means, but it feels symbolic. I turn to her. She's watching me, still holding the baby. I notice the stroller in the corner, unused, a hollow shell. The baby whimpers. She rubs his back, calms him, and stares at me with that same lifeless gaze. I swallow, trying to push down the anger and sadness that swirl inside me. You could have told me sooner, I say, voice low. Saved everyone some heartache. Why didn't you? She doesn't answer, her lips parted but no sound coming out. I exhale, feeling the final shred of hope dissolve. This is it. There's nothing left for us. I take a step back, the folder clutched against my side, and nod once, as if acknowledging a silent farewell. I speak to her in a soft monotone, as if from beyond a grave. I'm taking the kids. Don't look for us. It's best this way. She stands motionless, baby in her arms, eyes wide but empty. I wait for a protest, a cry, something. But there's only silence, as though she has no more fight left. Maybe she gave it all to that man who filmed the video. Maybe she spent it lying to me for months. I can't pretend to know her anymore. I turn away, walk to the door. My footsteps echo in the hush. Before stepping outside, I pause, stare at the doorknob, gather the words that need to be said. I used to love you, I whisper. But now there's nothing. I don't wait for a response that will never come. I open the door, walk out into the warm afternoon light, and shut it behind me. In the car, the kids look up. I give them a reassuring nod. My hands grip the wheel, knuckles white. I drive away from that house for the last time, everything we built turned to dust behind me. The day we move into the rental, I lug our suitcases inside, set up the children's beds, arrange their clothes in the cheap wooden dresser. They laugh, bouncing on the mattresses, excited by the newness of it all. Their innocence is my only solace. Outside, the sun drifts behind a line of trees, painting the windows with golden streaks. I sink onto the couch, which I bought secondhand from a neighbor, and rub my temples. Tension coils in my shoulders, a reminder that I'm alive, though I feel half dead. I start to realize that I must keep living. For them, if not for me. My phone pings, but I ignore it. I sense it might be from her father or someone else in that old life, urging me to reconsider, to talk. Talk about what? The child that isn't mine. The affair. The baby in her arms with another man's eyes. I have no words left to say, no tears left to cry. I'm wrung out, hollow. There's no revenge to be had beyond what's already happened. I took my children and my self-respect. I left her with that empty stroller and an empty bed. Night falls. The kids sleep, worn out from the excitement. I step outside onto the small wooden porch, leaning on the railing, looking into the darkness. Some neighbor's TV mumbles through an open window. A cat scampers along the fence. In the distance, cars hum on the freeway. Life goes on, indifferent to the heartbreak inside me. I stand there, letting the night air cool my face. It reminds me of that old phrase my father told me once, a man doesn't cry. He deals with it. So I deal with it. I internalize it. I'm not sure if that's healthy or not, but it's all I know. The next morning, I awake to the sound of my phone vibrating on the nightstand. I check the caller ID. Her father. I let it ring, then check the voicemail. His voice is subdued, apologetic, asking me to call him back. He wants to talk about what's best for everyone, to see if we can come to some arrangement. I don't want to discuss anything. I delete the message. Day by day, the kids and I settle into a routine. I cook them simple meals, drive them to their new school, come home to fill out job applications for a local consulting firm. My old boss was understanding, but I couldn't keep my position in the old city. It was too tangled with the life I've left behind. I find a part-time job to tide me over, just enough to keep bills paid. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. Sometimes I catch myself stopping mid-step, remembering how she used to hum while folding laundry or dance around the kitchen. Then I shake the memory away. Her ghost lingers, though I try to bury it under the monotony of survival. It's a slow, grinding process, but one day I realize I haven't thought about that motel video for a solid 3 hours. That's how healing works, I suppose. In increments so small you barely notice them. Late one evening, I'm on the porch again, the children asleep inside. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I open it. It's from her. A single line, I'm sorry. No punctuation, no elaboration. I stare at the screen for a long time, feeling an old wound flare up. Then I lock the phone, tuck it into my pocket, and stand in the darkness, listening to the rustle of leaves in the breeze. An hour passes, then 2. I look at the phone again. No new messages, no second attempt. Just that lonely, I'm sorry, that arrived too late and too empty to matter. I'm not even sure if I wanted an apology. It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't erase the betrayal or the child that wasn't mine. It doesn't fill the hollow place inside my chest. But for a fleeting second, I wonder what she's thinking now, alone in that house, the baby in the nursery, the stroller gathering dust. Does she regret it all? Or is she just lost, same as me? Eventually, I go to bed. My dreams are restless. I see flashes of a life that might have been, our children playing in a backyard, me and her sharing a laugh, the ring on my finger meaning something real. Then the images morph into that motel room, her shirt sliding off, a man's grin. I wake up sweating, tears stinging the corners of my eyes. I remind myself, a man shouldn't cry. I swallow the lump in my throat, take a few calming breaths, and sit up in the darkness until the panic subsides. Weeks pass. I sign the divorce papers when they arrive. She never contests the custody arrangement. Whether out of guilt or resignation, I don't know. The lawyer expresses surprise at how quickly this is going. I just nod, sign, date, initial. There's something final in each stroke of the pen. By the time I walk out of that office, I feel a surge of relief mingled with sadness. I stand on the sidewalk, blinking in the midday sun, telling myself that I'm free, that I did the right thing. But inside, I'm aware I've lost a piece of who I was, maybe the best piece. That evening, I treat the kids to pizza at a local diner, then take them for ice cream. We sit at a round booth under flickering neon lights. They laugh about flavors, guess the capital of random states, ask me silly riddles. I play along, forcing a genuine smile for them. As we exit, my older child tugs on my sleeve, looking up with worried eyes. "Are we ever going back?" he asks, voice small. I crouch to meet his gaze. "No," I say gently. "We have a new start now." He nods, sniffs, and rubs his nose, fighting tears. I bring him in for a hug. I feel his heartbeat against my chest. I whisper, "It's okay to be sad. Even if I can't allow myself to cry, he's still just a child. He can shed the tears I can't." When we get home, the kids retreat to their rooms, lost in a mixture of relief and confusion. I stand in the living room, turning off the lights. The silence is thick but not as suffocating as before. I realize I'm gradually making this place into our home. On the mantle, I've placed photos of me and the kids. There's no trace of her. It's better that way. Eventually, I find enough stability to settle into a better-paying job at a regional office that values my experience. My new coworkers ask polite questions about my family, but I keep my answers brief, guarded. Nobody presses too hard. There's a mutual respect for boundaries among grown men who've seen heartbreak in their lives. Some of them are divorced, some are single dads. We share glances that say more than words ever could. On a day off, I take the kids hiking in a nearby canyon. The wide sky, the dusty trails, the distant hum of wind through the pines, it all feels cleansing. My daughter picks wildflowers, my older boy climbs every rock in sight. I trail behind, letting them lead. Watching them, I wonder if they sense how close we came to crumbling entirely. Or if they just see the present, a father with them, laughing at their jokes, offering a steady hand. Perhaps that's all they need. We reach a scenic overlook. The canyon stretches out below us, a tapestry of greens and browns, with a winding river glinting in the sun. I stand there, eyes locked on the horizon, letting the breeze wash over my face. For a moment, I'm seized by a wave of intense sorrow. I want to scream at the emptiness, to call out her name and demand an explanation that might fill the hole in my heart. But I don't. I stay silent, abiding by the unspoken rule, I'm not allowed to break. My older boy tugs on my shirt, pointing out a hawk circling overhead. I nod, muster a smile, say, "Beautiful, isn't it?" He agrees, wide-eyed. We remain there, father and children, the wind stirring our hair, the sun warming our shoulders. An image of calm that I never thought I'd find again. By the time we descend the trail and head back, the kids chatter about random topics, school games, cartoon plots, little jokes only they understand. My heart aches to see them carry on with such resilience. I realize they're stronger than I gave them credit for. They adapt. Maybe I can learn from them. That night, as they sleep, I look through old pictures on my phone, scrolling back through the years. I come across the wedding photo. My finger hovers over the option to delete it. I can't bring myself to do it yet. Instead, I set the phone aside. I stare at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the house settling. I think about everything that happened, the video, the silent confrontation, the test results, her father's shock, the empty stroller. That single moment when I walked away with the kids, leaving her behind with a baby that wasn't mine. In my mind, I see her face from that day, unblinking, silent, broken. I close my eyes, swallowing the bitter taste of regret. I'm not sure if it's regret for what she did or regret for trusting her in the first place. Probably both. Over the next months, daily life becomes easier. I enroll the kids in sports, help them with homework, cook simple dinners. I fall into a rhythm of early mornings and quiet evenings. Once in a while, I get a text from an unknown number, likely her or her father. I ignore them. The legal process is done, the dust settled. I owe her nothing. Still, the emotional scarring remains, lurking beneath my outward calm. In the mirror, I look thinner, older. My hairline has receded a bit. My eyes carry a haunted look that wasn't there before. But there's also a new hardness in my expression, a determined set to my jaw. I've survived betrayal, endured the ripping apart of my family. There's not much left that can scare me. Sometimes, as I'm drifting off to sleep, I recall the final image of her, that empty stroller on the porch, the baby crying in her arms, the sun glaring across her face. She didn't chase after me, didn't beg or scream. She just stood there, letting me go. That tells me everything I need to know about what was left between us. Nothing. Then, one quiet evening, as I'm folding laundry in the living room, I hear a gentle knock on the door. My heart kicks, but I keep folding my son's t-shirt. Another knock. I open the door. Standing on the threshold is the older neighbor from back in our old apartment, Mr. Johnson. His hair is whiter, his face lined with concern. We greet each other politely. He says he found me through mutual acquaintances. I let him in, offer him a seat. The kids are asleep. He hands me an envelope, eyes downcast. He explains that he came into possession of more chat logs, videos, who knows what else. He apologizes for interfering again. I just thought, you deserve to know the whole truth. I set the envelope on the coffee table, stare at it with dull eyes. I don't open it. I've had enough of that truth. Enough to last a lifetime. I thank him politely, assuring him I'm moving on. He nods, relieved. After a few minutes of small talk, mostly about him and his health, he leaves. I close the door, lock it. The envelope remains on the table. I won't bother reading it. It doesn't matter now. I pick it up, slip it into a drawer without a glance. The truth has already done its damage. More details will only reopen wounds. Days later, I drive my children to a new church we've started attending. The pastor's a soft-spoken man who preaches kindness and forgiveness. I'm not sure I'm ready to forgive her, but I appreciate the sense of community. People greet us warmly. I see a man in the pews who, from the heavy lines on his face, has known heartbreak of his own. We exchange a nod. No words, just a shared acknowledgement that we've both crawled through the fire. Seasons change. My little rental house now has a small garden patch out front with flowers my daughter planted. The kids are doing well in their classes, making friends. I juggle work and home responsibilities, sometimes stumbling, but always determined. Every night, I check on them, watch their sleeping faces, reassure myself that they're safe, that this is real. One evening, I catch my reflection in the dark window. I still see a man with hollow eyes, but there's a flicker of resilience. A sense that I've weathered the worst storm of my life. The memory of her betrayal remains lodged in my mind like a splinter, but it no longer consumes me. I take off my wedding ring for the first time. I hold it between my thumb and forefinger, letting the kitchen light glint off the gold band. A wave of memories washes over me, our honeymoon, the day we found out we were going to have our first child, the nights we fell asleep whispering the smallest details of our day. All illusions, or maybe truths that ended too soon. A long breath escapes me. I set the ring down on the counter, feeling an unexpected sense of calm. This is my final act of letting go. I think about tomorrow, the next day, the next year. A slow climb toward a future where I'm no longer haunted by her voice or her silence. I switch off the kitchen light. The house settles around me, a soft hush that feels strangely peaceful. The kids are asleep. I'm alone. But not lonely. Not in the same way. I stand in the darkness, letting it wrap around me. I can almost hear a faint pulse in the walls, a rhythm of life that continues despite everything. My heart beats in time with it, steady and constant. I pick up the ring one last time, then drop it into a small wooden box. I close the lid. A man shouldn't cry. And I don't. My eyes remain dry, my voice silent. But inside, I feel the place where tears should be. The ache is there, an echo of everything I've lost. My chest rises and falls. I inhale, exhale. The moment passes. Then I head upstairs, away from the old ghosts, away from the memory of her eyes in that final moment. I walk into the darkness. And that darkness no longer holds her gaze. It belongs to me now. The end is abrupt, but I find a strange release in that sudden stop, like a door slamming shut on a chapter one refused to relive. The next step is mine alone, and whatever I decide, it won't include her. I hold on to that quiet victory as I take the stairs, each footfall a beat in a steady march forward. The children sleep peacefully, the night is calm, and for the first time in a long while, I can breathe without tasting bitterness on my tongue. It's enough. I let the darkness take me in, let it be my refuge, because it doesn't have her eyes anymore.